everybody. Storyteller number 2 is coming up to the stage, and it's Kevin Gladish! Kevin. Hello, how are you? All right, this works for you?
I think so.
Oh, perfect.
All right. So, my dad had a lot of photo scrapbooks of our family. My sister and I both each had probably one full book for each year of our young lives, ages 1 through 4. And one of his rituals was to pull these things out whenever somebody I had been dating for a while came over. This is mortifying as a high school student, but the girl usually liked it, so I went along, and it went on through college. And I was dating this girl named Sophia, not her real name, but for tonight she's Sophia. Sophia was very Italian and was very into her Italian culture, her heritage, and she would show me her own photographs of her father, her great-grandfather, and would show me and say, "Don't you see the resemblance?" And I would say, "Yeah, I do." But I always felt uncomfortable in those conversations, and I never knew why. So Sophia was over Christmas break, and Dad pulled the things out, and we all laughed. And she waited until he left the room before we were sitting alone, and the little book was on our laps. And she said, "You don't really look like your family." And I said the line that I had rehearsed and had actually taught myself to believe. I said, "Yeah, I take after Mom, Carrie takes after Dad." But there was something in the way she said it that just felt like an accusation in that moment, and I felt embarrassed and angry and exposed, and I didn't know why. So I think she sensed that and said, yeah, I can see that. Years later, after my father had passed away, I was going through these photo albums, and that sense of unease came back. You know, I loved looking at these things, and it wasn't to look at myself as a baby. It was because my dad put all this time into these things, and I was remembering him. But I remembered, you don't look much like your family. I don't, folks. I really don't. My mom and I, if we were cast in a movie, we could pass for mom and son, but everybody else, not so much. So, but it wasn't the lack of resemblance that came out at me that time. What I noticed was the first page of the first volume, called Kevin Volume 1. It was me, my mom holding me in front of the house, and a little label maker, you know, those little ones with the words, the letters, that my dad put saying, November 1972, home. I was born in April. Was there a volume missing? Nothing comes before Volume 1, right? And why were there no photos of me before this, and why were there no photos, for that matter, of my mom pregnant? It's not as if I didn't suspect I was adopted. I always had. And one time I even asked my dad about it. I'm jumping around in this story, so bear with me. This is a couple years before he passed away. He was recovering from an illness and was doing rehab in an assisted living, and I was staying with him, and we were having one of those heart-to-heart conversations that fathers and sons have as adults. He was talking about his own father. His father was an alcoholic, and he wanted so bad to give us a better life than what he had. And the guard was down, and I said, "This is it. I'm going to ask him now." I said, "Dad, it doesn't matter. I still love you, but I need to know. Am I adopted?" He took just a little bit too long before saying no. And when I asked him, "Why did you wait so long to have kids?" Another mystery from our conservative Catholic family. He told me a story. He said that Mom had trouble conceiving, but that they had found a very special doctor who helped her, and that Carrie and I were miracles. He told me a fairy tale. And in that moment, because I could not conceive of a world in which this man would lie to me, I chose to believe it. I chose to believe that I was wrong and probably a little crazy. I don't know why he lied, but part of me, I think, didn't believe it. Because later on, when I saw that first page of that photo album, it all snapped into focus. And I took action. I sent away for my original birth certificate from Ohio, which thanks to a change in the law, you could get for $20 and a notarized one sheet of paper. I found out that my birth mother's name was Judy, that she was adopted too, and that she died 7 years before I had a chance to see her. Through some searching, she never had any other kids besides me, no other family. But I found her best friend, and I found a cousin. And they sent me some photographs of her. I'm telling you, folks, if you've never experienced this, I was finally able to show somebody a picture and say, see the resemblance? It was amazing. And I'm working on that photo album, that first volume that was missing. I'm making it myself. It's got pictures of Judy in it. Maybe one day it'll have pictures of my birth father, that mysterious Irishman who came in and out of her life that I haven't been able to find yet. But till then, the only dad I ever knew was the one who raised me, the one who protected me and taught me and loved me, and who also lied to me. As you can tell, my feelings and my grief are a little complicated, but that's okay. The truth is a hell of a mess sometimes, isn't it? And true stories are a hell of a mess sometimes too, but I prefer them to fairy tales. Thanks.